PSD2 towards a new ecosystem? Question mark. We have with us Marianne Barbat-Layani from the FBF. Joan Burkovic. Am I butchering last names? No, that's good. Burkovic, all right. Arturo Gonzalez with Eurobits. Geoffroy Goffinet with ACPR. And Ignacio Vilar. My Spanish is not particularly good, right? With the ING. So if you could please, from left to right, maybe introduce yourselves very quickly to the audience and tell where you're coming from and why you're here on this panel talking about PSD2 and the ecosystem. And then once we introduce once everyone has introduced themselves, we'll launch into the discussion.
So I'm Geoffroy Goffinet. I'm Deputy Director in the Authorization Department of the French regulator, ACPR. I think I'm on stage on two different views. The first one is that I was working for the European Banking Authority since last September on one of the important piece of secondary regulation that will specify a bit more the PSD2, which is the technical standard on strong customer authentication and secure communication, which is, I think, in the middle of what will be the new ecosystem of PSD2. And now in my new responsibility, I will also be involved in the licensing of course, the new actors that will go into the market.
Hello, I'm Marianne Barbat-Layani, CEO of the French Banking Federation, but also the small association of interest today, which is called ACPR, where we also have the payment providers, members of the association.
Hello, I'm Joan Burkovic, co-founder and CEO at Bankin. At Bankin, we just help the people managing the money through a free mobile app and totally secure, directly connected to your bank account. So we are an AIS. We have 1.5 million users in 4 countries, in France, the UK, Germany, and Spain. And we announced this month that we are now also a PIS, so you can order transfer directly in the banking app.
Thank you. I'm Arturo Gonzalez. I'm the CEO of Eurobits Technologies. We were originally a bank-owned company. Now we're an independent firm. And we have been providing account information services and payment information services since 2004. So we're probably the oldest provider of these kind of services in Europe. And together with Joan and other representatives of this side of the market, we've been in close collaboration with the Commission and with the Euro Parliament to try to make sure that PSD2 and the corresponding regulation makes a good fit.
My name is Ignacio and I'm the Chief Innovation Officer for ING Group, and also the Head of Retail. And the reason why I'm in this panel is in ING we really embrace the new regulations forward actually, and we have been a strong advocates because we believe this is very differential for the customers and it will enhance competition and that this is good. And also as ING we have been trying actually to get prepared for the PSD2 regulations coming forward, and we are working to launch an aggregation, a little bit what you have done in the UK, YOLT. Now we are in beta version, and also in other countries we are using scraping to do instant lending. So we have been getting prepared, and also with the launch of Payconit in Belgium right now.
Thank you. We have 2 microphones, one for each table. All right, so when I think about PSD2 as an ecosystem or a new ecosystem, I think about a framework, a purpose, rules, various stakeholders, and we indeed have various stakeholders represented on the panel, and probably some type of overlap in terms of like purpose and the end goal, right? So I'd love, Geoffroy, if you could tee yourself from the perspective of a regulator, how this directive, from a framework and goals perspective was developed with what in mind, and what maybe you expect from your point of view as the ecosystem develops.
Yeah, sure. I think we are only missing one stakeholder, which is the consumers, which is always more difficult to also understand.
They're here.
Yeah, of course, but representing the consumers. I was quoting because I think it's important to understand the task of the regulator is never easy in that respect. I think the goal of the PSD2 was clearly to increase competitions, ensure more security. I think that's also one of the major let's say, objective of the PSD2 compared to PSD1. If you look at the first directive, there was more or less nothing about security. So the PSD2 is really now about security, in particular in internet. But if you quote some of the objective, you will understand that the life of the regulator, which now needs to write the technical aspect of the PSD2, is not an easy life. And I will just quote some of the objectives that the legislator gave to, for example, the European Banking Authority when developing the technical standards. We need to ensure an appropriate level of security. That's, I think it's understandable. But at the same time, we need to ensure the fair competition among all PSPs, ensuring technology and business model neutrality, and allowing for the development of user-friendly, accessible, and innovative means of payments. And I can tell you that sometimes all these objectives altogether is not an easy life, because now if I look at what, as I said, it will be one of the major, I think, impact for the market for the new ecosystem will be the standards on security, strong customer authentication, and secure communication. And these standards basically focus on two different topics. The first one is to what extent the consumer needs to go through security measures when paying online. And the second one is how we make it the new actors, account information services and initiators to have a dialogue with the banks.